Hello, hello. All right, just a quick book review here. As you can see, Memory Theatre by Simon Critchley, who is a British philosopher, someone who studied Heidegger a bit. We seem to be dipping into quite a few people who are looking at Heidegger. But anyway, this one is a bit different. I literally just finished reading this now. I just read it in the last like hour or something. It's only a short work of it's like semi autobiographical, kind of fictional, and he's just talking about it's an interesting story. It's like some fictional account of how he received these boxes from one of his old colleagues, old professors, and he received, they're all labeled as the horoscopes, Leo and Aries and this, that, and the other, and how he started looking through them and then finding out that he'd been doing these horoscopes and predicted the deaths of all these different people and predicted his own death, the character in the book who's telling the story. And then it goes into he's done this by using some kind of strange by strange system related to is it Camilo's art and memory with the theatre, or is it Flood? I get confused with which one's which. But again, the art of memory is something I'm quite interested in. It goes on about Giordano Bruno, and it's just sort of a really weird, weird take on a different perspective on like mortality and what death means, and he brings out a lot of the work that what's her face wrote. Yeah, Francis Yates. I've actually got, yeah, referring to like this book here. Yeah, the memory. I'm just sort of talking about the more sort of occultist side of it and the mysticism surrounding it, and talking about how these people were trying to, you know, embody God in a way, like through having the most perfect memory. And yeah, from what I can gather, this is what Bruno was trying to do, and some other people, where it's that kind of just order their memory in such a way that they would have like an insight into the inner workings of the universe, that kind of thing. A bit bizarre, a bit weird. But again, for the day and the time, again, Newton was into all this at the time as well. So he's just going into that, and yeah, the narrative runs like that. And then when it comes to a day where it doesn't actually die, and then starts to realize that it's not like it's this, your memory is not static, it's something that's moving, and it's something that should be built on throughout time. And it's this I guess in a way it's kind of relating a little bit, it's like a more literate version of like Kafka's metamorphosis kind of thing, where it's like we need to keep changing and progression and moving through time. Like memories don't stay static, nothing stays static. And he relates, which is also true. I never realized before. It's something I found out. It's relating to this phenomenology of spirit. I had no idea. It's actually Hegel was kind of using Bruno as a kind of system, as like a weird kind of memory system. And because I've not read this all the way through, I only started it fairly recently, went through the preface quite a bit, and probably don't have time to get round to it in the future. But now it's kind of sparked my interest about it. And yeah, that should be interesting. But yeah, refers to this in the book, a certain passage from Hegel and what he says, and how phenomenology of spirit is, I can't say that word, phenomenology of spirit is like read in reverse order. It's like Bruno's statues, like these memory things for a memory palace. And it's an interesting little fiction. It's a bit like it's like one of those situations where, what's it called, the movie with Tom Hanks and all that, and he wrote that book about Jesus and the blood and blah blah blah. You know the one, it's like conspiracy theory of the church and Jesus still being alive, the blood of the relatives of, and is it Critchley? Is it the same guy? No, it's not the same guy. Anyway, yeah, it's got that kind of feel to it, but it's a very short like novella. It's not a full novel. Obviously, if I just read it in like a couple of hours. I'm not sure. Let me just check. How many pages is this? I can't quite recall. Yes, like 70 pages. It's not a lot. So, yeah. But yeah, I recommend that one. Do I? Why do you say that? I just recommend it. It's a nice short little read. And yeah, I just kind of, because I was looking for things related to memory, because I've been sort of been studying about that lately and looking into it. It's a personal interest of mine. And this just sort of stuck out to me because I was listening to a podcast from Stephen West, which he'd just done recently, talking about Heidegger. And this guy wrote a book recently relating to this, talking about mysticism and such. And so it's kind of like, and I was watching an interview with him, and I just sort of looked at his book list and bang, saw this. So yeah, read it. That's basically how that happened today. Yeah, other than that, the only thing I was planning to do was to ramble on a bit, but um, I'll probably do that in another video. Yeah, the whole I have been very intrigued. Like, I've started trying to use these memory systems a bit more myself and improve my memory with memory palaces and such. And yeah, it's quite successful. It's quite easy to do. It's just a case of like you go to the gym, you work out. You gotta build up the muscle power to do it in your brain. And like now I was trying to memorize like a deck of cards. I think it took me like 17 minutes to encode. I then recall them. It took me 7 minutes, but I made like 4 mistakes in a whole deck of cards. I know why that is because I just went at it ad hoc, but it's an interesting idea. The memory's an intriguing thing, and in relations to what consciousness means and such, yeah. But I'm not. I don't like to go there anymore, really, to be honest, because it's pretty much. If you listen to the podcast that Stephen West has just done recently on Philosophize This, he does sort of touch on this with the ineffability of mystical experiences and the problem of certain concepts like consciousness. I've been saying this for a long time anyway, that I know it's like people don't know what they mean. And what's kind of why I'm bringing this up now as well, because they're all related into what's happened today. And myself trying to like improve these memory systems I've got for myself. What I have found and what is really intriguing is that it's the concepts, it's the words, they overstate the concepts. And he mentions this in a memory theater, because I'm kind of into sort of occultist stuff as well. I've always found it fascinating, people believing weird stuff. And he mentions in here something which intrigued me, which is from, I've got it somewhere. It's from the Corpus Hermeticum. I think I've mentioned it before, which is like kind of a fake. It's a Ficino who done a translation of it, like in the 4th century or something, for some Roman guy. Or it might have been a bit later, but anyway, because but Giordano Bruno read this and he thought it was like, it was authentic from Egyptian times, but it wasn't at all. But anyway, in that book, they're sort of saying about people worry about writing as destroying people's memories. And in this book, he sort of mentions that a little bit and then goes on to sort of say about, again, it's fictional the way he's writing it, sort of saying about, how does he put it? The Gutenberg printing press being like a tragedy. But yeah, it's tongue in cheek. It's tongue in cheek for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting thoughts there. Yeah, and what I was trying to get around to saying then, because I was in this memory system, I just started thinking about one of the titles of a chapter of a book or something was charisma, and I was like, how can I create some kind of image for charisma? And I came up with because it's like, other than breaking down the word into separate syllables, which that works as well, like charisma, it might be like car racing my mother, car race mama. So you could do that kind of thing, and then envisages that, and that works quite well. But what I then got to thinking about was going back to the whole like religious systems and the symbols of like justice, where the blind woman, the sword, the oh, you can't see my hand, the scales. So like dishing out justice, the balance of scales, so it's, you know, weigh the good against the bad, and the blindness as the impartiality, which is something that that Canadian psychologist dude mentions, the neuropsychologist, who seems quite interesting. Yeah, so I was trying to envision what would charisma look like, and trying to come up with a concept, and I got this idea of like a frog with peacock feathers, and it's like winking at you. But I was thinking like there's a frog, and like Prince Charming thing is embedded in there, and then Prince Charming, then I think of Adamant and the song Prince Charming, so it all kind of amalgamates into this one. It's not just what I've really found works extremely well. It's rather than just, it's not just a static image a picture. There's something going on, and attaching music to it gives it proper oomph and power. I've not figured out how to get round to the olfactory point of memory and how to use smell. I think that would be quite difficult to do, but it's something that, yeah, I'm going to look into in the future and see how that can be used. But yeah, remembering smells is an interesting thing, because yeah, like sometimes you can get a waft of something and it just like transports you back in time to like when you were 5 years old or something. But I've had that a few times. Or you just get this smell, and it's like there's something there, there's a memory. It's like, what the hell was that? Like that fragrance, it just took me somewhere else. But you can't quite articulate what it was or remember what it was. It's a feeling embedded in you. And like how just to bring up an image in my mind, I can do that quite easily. The music as well, I can hear the music. The movies, I can do that as well. The smell, the touch, these things are things going to take a bit more time to do. I would really like to learn Braille, and I think that might help quite a lot, because a lot of you might not actually know this, but your sense of touch, you can detect a single molecule with your fingertips, which is incredible. But yeah, most surfaces are always rough anyway. But if there was like a perfectly uniform smooth surface and you ran your finger over it and there's like one molecule, you would feel that, which is, it sounds incomprehensible, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, yeah, slight tangent from the book review. There's not really, it's a, just read it, and it was just getting my juices flowing, really. And I want to try and get a video out a week, so yeah, this is it by the looks of it. Would I recommend this? It's an interesting little read. It's kind of I say I stumbled across it simply because it like this interest came in, this interest. It's just a coincidence that it came together like this. So yeah, that's the only reason I read it. That's about it, I would say. Yeah, I was speaking to someone on a philosophy forum today about, well, the other day I was recommending this one. Yeah, because he was asking about pre-Socratic philosophers and stuff. Yeah, I think this is really decent. But whether I do a review of this, yeah, I need. I'll be studying that for a long time into the future, to be honest. But again, using a memory system, I've memorized the first. I've done it with this. Where is it? Where are they? Like this list of philosophers on a timeline. I know those by heart now. I don't know the exact dates of them, but I know the order they come in. And I'm mostly going to be focusing on those guys, I think. But yeah. I don't really have much more to say. Other than that, bye-bye.